Welcome everyone to the Monday, September 28th Kubernetes 120 release meeting. This meeting is covered by the Kubernetes Code of Conduct, so please be excellent to one another. And this meeting is recorded, so don't say anything that you wouldn't want to live on the internet. We will go ahead and get started with enhancements today. I've dropped the agenda into the chat, so please go ahead and add yourself to the meeting if you're online right now. And if you have any items that you'd like to add to the open discussion, please feel free to do that now if you haven't. With that, we'll turn it over to Kirsten.
Hi, everybody. This is Kirsten, Enhancements Lead. I'm marking the current status as green because I think it's a pretty normal state to be in, like where we are given in the release cycle. And instead of tracking the alpha beta stable right now, I'm just giving a rundown of like the categories that we have. So we have 25 tracked enhancements, 31 at risk, 37 untracked. So that's people who said we're not going to be in this release, 14 deferred, pending 50, and unresponsive 12. So pending are people who haven't responded but have been responsive in recent past release cycles, and then unresponsive are people who haven't responded in this release cycle yet and haven't responded in like multiple release cycles. And both the pending and the responsive have received 2 pings each, along with the email that was sent to everybody else. So I might get a couple out of the pending, but I'd be surprised about those. So yeah, I think we're doing really well. Most of the at-risk are, I think, looking pretty good. We're gonna obviously lose a bunch of them though. They won't make it. But yeah, I think we're in good shape. Everybody's been reviewing their assigned at-risk and tracked enhancements. That's what we've been focusing on, to really review the enhancements and make sure that they're substantially complete and correct. And yeah, the theme's been really great so far, and we're kind of killing it. So
cool.
I'm gonna brag.
Thank you to enhancements for that. I feel like that number kind of tracks with what we've seen in previous releases.
Yeah, it feels totally normal to me. Like, yeah.
Cool. We'll keep our fingers crossed. We'll see how many of those at risk come over. Maybe we'll have a super exciting release this time around with a whole bunch of things, or maybe we'll end up normally. Any questions for enhancements or any concerns from the enhancements team that we can help with? Great. Well, thank you, Kirsten, and thank you to your shadows for the great effort so far on this. I know enhancements, you all have the most work up front, so thank you for crushing that. Next, let's do CI signal with Rob. Is Rob on? Trying to see. Doesn't look like he is on. Any of the CI signal shadows want to jump in and take this? Otherwise, Rob has the status marked as yellow. So we can just handle that offline.
Rob should be joining if we want to come back to him.
Yeah, perfect. We'll come back. Book triage is Vlad on?
Yep. Hey.
Cool. Take it away.
We are green. Things look pretty normal for us. We've had an orientation with shadows, so I'll be probably handing over some of the reporting duties to shadows over the next couple release team meetings. So yeah, we are green. We are in good shape. We've also started the bug triage tracking spreadsheet. So we'll be sorting the issues between shadows and me as well. That's pretty much it.
Great. Thank you. Any questions for bug triage? All right. I see Rob is online, so let's go back to CI signal.
Hey, hi. I'm just in the middle of dropping in the report into the agenda.
Okay.
We're basically yellow to red at the moment. I think I can just call it out in front of me now. So basically, where we're at in master blocking, and we have 8 flaking jobs, and we have a lot of work being done by the team to report on those jobs. And for the most part, they're on the edge of flaking. I'll update the agenda with those flakes, and where we're just getting to is that we have a lot of issues reported, and we just need to ramp up on chasing down for root cause analysis from the various SIGs in order to start figuring out what's going on with some of the flakes. Overall, the other overriding issue that we have at the moment is the aggregated results tool, which is also known as the triage tool, is undergoing maintenance at the moment. So the triage tool has only data up until the 21st of this month. And I'm in conversation with Grant in order to work through some of the issues. So essentially what's happened is that he had numerous changes sideswipe the triage tool, and he's working through the range of changes that happened to him. And it's a combination of image updates and upgrades of Python to PyPy and all sorts of stuff. So he's working on that, and I'm doing some async pairing with him on getting to the bottom of that. And the only silver lining in that cloud is that I'm learning a little bit more about CI. So working through that with him will kind of increase at least my knowledge, and hopefully I'll share that with the team.
Great. Thank you for that super detailed update. Is there anything that we can help you with? Anything that you need from the team?
I might reach out to former Signal members to, basically Dan and Alejandro to have a look at some of the issues. So I'll put calls. I might put calls out for help just to review a few of them, and basically I kind of need to train up the shadows on escalating the issues and delivering them to the welcome arms of people in various SIGs and testing ops and SIG testing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. If you need anything specifically, let's just go ahead and open issues on the release board so we can track those.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that, Jeremy. Yeah,
make sure we pick up owners for them.
Cool.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Any questions for CI Signal?
Rob, do you want to mention the extract problem we're running into?
What's that now, Eddie?
So there's one test that started failing September 11th, and it's actually the cause of most of our flakes right now. It's all a single step in the pipeline, the extract test. All it's doing is curling binaries and trying to untar them. And the download retries 3 times and fails all 3 times, like makes it to like 200 megabytes, 300 megabytes, and then just fails. And like I've spent hours trying to dig in and figure out what's going on, and all I've been able to pull out is like there's something going on with the networking. It's pulling it out of a GCS bucket, so we might need to. We gave testing ops a heads up, but we might need to like escalate a bit more.
Yeah, let's certainly push that with them and just say to them, look, we need help with this, and essentially. Yeah, so myself and Eddie went through that, and we got some initial feedback that was just Kate's flakiness, but to us that smells like a sort of an infrastructural issue. So we need to chase that up and just get to the root cause of that.
Okay, great. Let's keep sync on that, and if we need to, let's make a tracking issue just so we can follow that through and make sure we don't lose it and get to a point where CI is super unhappy again.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks so much for that.
Yeah, thanks, Eddie.
Oh yeah, thanks, Eddie. That's a good add to the recording. Anna, do you want to take docs now?
Sure. Hey everyone, we are green. I created the integration branch for the docs last week, and we're gonna start tracking the PRs related to the enhancement starting this week. So we're on track.
Great, thank you. Anything that you need from us?
Nope, not this week. Thanks.
Okay, thank you so much. Any questions for docs? All right, moving on to release notes, and Celeste.
Hello, our current status is yellow. We are yellow because we have not generated the release notes for 1.20 Alpha 1 yet, because we wanted to do that together as a part of shadow onboarding. So it's going to happen sometime later this week. Yeah, and then we should be green after that.
Thank you. That sounds like a great approach. I think doing that as a shadow onboarding thing sounds like a really cool idea. So good job, release notes team. Any questions for release notes? All right, comms with Joseph.
Hey everybody. I'm coming in a little late, but finally got all my shadow onboarding completed. So this week, the plan is to meet with everybody. We're going to game plan this release cycle a little bit, get everybody kind of comfortable. We always kind of come in a little bit later, so that's just life of being in comms. And but one thing I have started this last week was starting to track what's happening in enhancements, start to really look for potential themes, and preemptively try to identify areas where they could be potential feature blogs. So at least get it mentally in our head and hopefully allow us to be in front of it instead of like the last 2 weeks. So far everything's green now.
I have a question. Have you gone with the idea of having the like internal calendar in terms of the cadence?
I'm actually working on through some of that right now. So hopefully I may reach out to you, Lori, because I think I have a question or two to get some feedback.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Thanks. Any questions for comms? Ambulance number 1, yes. All right, moving on. Release branch management with Marco.
Hey everyone. So far from our side, we are green. We had the alpha.1 release last Tuesday, and the next alpha is scheduled for October 13. This is for about 2 weeks for now, and so far it is calm right now, but we will keep you updated if anything comes up.
Great, thank you. Any questions for release branch management? Nope. All right. Moving on. I think Lockie said he was going to be out today, and he dumped a little bit of an update in here. But essentially, he scheduled a shadow orientation for Thursday. I would highly encourage everybody to come to that. It's a great place to ask questions about just the process in general. Any items that you need attention from Lockie for, or from the release team leads in general. I think it's a great place to go introduce yourself to everybody else if you haven't had a chance to do that yet, and just generally make the most of your shadowing experience and ask questions, anything else that will help you out there. And then one thing I added here, last week we mostly did introductions, but I think we might not have had everybody on the call yet. So I'll pause really quickly, and if you haven't introduced yourself, this would be an awesome opportunity to do that now, just so everybody knows everybody else on the team. So we'll just first come, first serve, whoever wants to go first, or if any of the leads know that their shadows weren't on last time, take this time to introduce them.
I can go. I'm Eddie Zaneski. Hello. I'm under CI Signal with Rob. Outside of release, I have been working with SigCLI, and I get paid by Amazon to do fun stuff. So.
Cool. Anybody else?
I believe we have Sonia on the call, who's a release note shadow. I'm not sure if you got the opportunity to introduce yourself last time.
Hello.
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 Hi. So my name is Sonia, and I'm from India. So yeah, I'll be working with a release notes shadow. Apart from this, I am associated with the project Thanos and new to Kubernetes. Yeah.
Cool. Well, welcome. Anyone else? All right. Well, thank you for introducing yourself. Feel free to drop into SIG Release if you don't feel like saying hello here. Just say hello in the SIG Release Slack channel and get to know everybody. Next up, my update. Today I'll be sending out a doodle that will have some proposed times for an India, Asia Pacific centric meeting time. We've discussed having 2 meetings since this time is not ideal for everybody. So I'll send that out this week, and then we can shoot for maybe starting that next week. So I'll send that to the whole release team Google group. So just vote on that and pick the time that's good for you. Calendar-wise, the next milestone is going to be enhancements freeze, and that'll be on October 6th. So we're getting pretty close to that, and Kirsten's team will have a lot of work to finish up around then. Code freeze will come on the 12th. One update is that we added a test freeze. So we had this defined as a milestone, and it's in the phases document, but missed it when I was making the schedule for this time. So we PR'd a change in, and now we'll have test freeze on November 23rd. So ideally for that, we don't want to make any new tests after that. Like between code freeze and that date, try to focus on getting the tests shored up, no conformance things after that. and then that'll be 2 weeks before the release. And then the release will be on December 8th. Any questions about the calendar? Any concerns about the schedule? All right. We don't have an update from SIG Scalability, so let's just jump over to program management with Lori.
Hi there. So a couple things. If you're new to this meeting, the release team has a project board, and I updated that last week. So there's a note from Steven. I jumped it into this doc from SIG release channel. Please be sure to add issues and PRs to the relevant project boards. Right now, this is a manual process. So if you make a card for release team issues, just please make sure that it's in the board, because we're using these meetings to walk the board and review progress on those items. Second thing is I was doing a review of retro items going back to 1.15 to see if we followed up, and because some things had not been turned into GitHub issues, and some things we just, time goes by and we hadn't checked in with them to see if they were really done or not. So we're actually almost done reviewing all of the items from our various docs and GitHub issues that were unaccounted for. And there aren't many left. There are a couple items that I've posted in the SIG release channel. We've been doing a really great job in closing those out. Lots of good discussion, and you'll see a little done emoticon to show that the conversation was resolved. From Friday, there's a couple of newer items that we have not resolved yet or seen any comments on. So if you can scroll up when you have a chance and look in that channel and see if you can add any comments to some of those questions. And then we should be able to finish this all up this week. And then just on 119 retro notes, do we have those? Is anyone doing anything with those items right now, or?
Savitha and I are doing something. We had an action item that we're gonna create like the whole release process, like how to get the feature into the release. And Savitha and I are working on that.
Okay, so, but is that all of the 119 retro items?
No, that's one of them.
One of them, yeah. So I'm just wondering if anybody is overseeing the action items from 119 at the moment. Like putting them into a GitHub issue, or making sure we don't lose track of those. Is that happening?
I don't know if it, oh, go ahead.
Sorry, Jeremy, I didn't mean to cut. Some of the docs issues are also tracked in the issue, which Anna is CC'd. I think Anna was following up on one of the stuff that worked with the enhancements team, and there was one thing that came out that once after the KK code PRs are implemented, then only the docs needs to be merged, and we need to check on that. We kind of missed that, so we were discussing on how to track it. So those are the things that are mentioned in the issue. The issue is called Improve Docs Role Handbook, and it's a bunch of things from 1.19 and overall process improvements. It's all clubbed together in one place.
Yeah, that's mainly for docs.
Yeah, so I think docs related, we are tracking it, but other than that, I don't think it's being tracked anywhere.
Okay, so, Jeremy?
I was gonna say, I'll take an action item to go review the retro today and make sure that we're tracking everything.
Cool, I can help you as well.
Okay.
So, because I've been, working on that, and I also have seen some of the comments about the docs checklist that Savitha and Anna are talking about, so. All right, so it sounds like we've got our retro house in order, which is great. That's all I've got for program management-y specific items right now.
Okay, it looks
Although
like you
the
have
next one's mine.
Yeah, it looks like you have the next one. So do you want to just jump into that too?
Yeah, so I don't know how much discussion this requires. It just came up while I was reviewing the retro items, and then in release engineering, document jumped. But basically, do we need clarification around how we handle working on weekends and off hours, which is basically to say that we don't require it, except if you sign on to do something during your weekend or after work hours, then ideally you tell people if you can no longer follow through with something. Do we need to clarify that in docs for this group, our policy?
So I think it was a problem in the past. So I
Okay.
think it is required just to have it there, in my opinion. But of course, like, I don't think it was required like last release, or like, I'm not sure about this release, but it is something good to have, in my opinion.
Okay.
Plus one to Anna, that I think that would really help, given that a lot of, given the distributed time zones and everything else, it would be a good thing for all the, concerned teams to have an overview of how the person is at, having, have the workload of that person, or if that person's availability is not matching at that given point of time in a release, if he or she is not able to take on more work. If that bit is there, there should be some clear communication around that. I think that would be helpful.
So what do you think about this? If we take a look at what's in the existing docs and draft any sort of clarification, and then come back next week with the draft language, and then, or we can post it in the channel, like here's the clarified language around this policy. Does anybody object? And make it like 2 or 3 sentences, because I don't think it needs to be longer than that.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anybody object? Oh, go ahead.
I don't have any objections. I think it would be good to have some consistent language we can apply across the different handbooks. Okay, great. I just closed the agenda doc. Let me reopen it so I can see where we are.
Yeah, just a quick apology there. I updated the template in error and throwing in the CI signal report. I'll fix that up afterwards.
Yeah, no worries. I have done that so many times. It's hard having the agenda and the doc itself in the same place. I feel like there's a better way to do it, but I'm not sure just what the best
bottom.
Put it at the yeah. Then I think you have the same, like, oh, I'm scrolling all the way down. Okay. Any other open items that people would like to bring up before we jump into the project board? Okay, I will mention that the retro document is open and we have it scheduled for the end of the release, but as we're going through this, just as a reminder, if you come across anything that you think would be worth noting to discuss to change for next time, or things you think are working really, really well, please add them to the retro so that we have them documented. It's just much easier, I think, in general, to have those things documented when you think about them, rather than we get to the retro and everybody's trying to rack their brain to figure out what went well and what didn't go well. All right, so let's bring up the project board and I'll share my screen. So here's a fun side note. Tim has been uploading all of the SIG release meetings, and because my resolution is super high, the recording for the last 2 meetings has been really, really large. So I need to fix that for next time. Okay, project board. So let's start with the other side of the screen. Okay. Blocked waiting things. Update CI signal issue format to be more conducive to triage. Is Dan on? Do you want to discuss this, or Rob, do you have any input for this one?
So since the last time this came up on our walkthrough, I had a look at the issue. At the moment, that issue is kind of stalled by a philosophical debate on how we should report CI signal issues. when I've bedded down the automated report, I might be able to weigh in on that and try and close it off.
Okay.
But I expect it'll be a few days before I get to see that, maybe more realistically next week.
Okay, cool. We can revisit it then. CI Signal subproject. Lori, do you have any updates to add to this one?
Yeah, so I don't want to go rogue. Sasha and Jorge and I talked about this at our release lead sync, and so let's just table that for now.
Okay. And the release gift one from 117, should probably remove it from this board because it's not.
Yeah, Steven said he would follow up. But I'm not sure what it's about.
Yeah, he'll have to work with Quinn on that one. I think it's outside of the scope of our team right now. Next up, we have update the shadow.md fixed role handbook URL. So this one we probably just need reviews on. 1231, let's take a look. Cool, looks like Dan left a comment and we're just waiting, maybe some feedback there. I'll follow up offline on this one. And then remove SIG-PM references from the enhancements lead handbook. Definitely need to fix that one up. Thanks for opening that, Eddie. Kirsten or Nabarun, have you looked at this one?
Yes, so I have been updating several references in the handbook, as well as like making some structural changes and some information addition. Kirsten has basically reviewed it in a draft mode in my fork. So I'm just going to like PR in those changes in the SIG release repository, basically with the handbooks.
Great, thank you for that update. Any questions on that one? Eddie, do you think that'll address this?
Yep, totally.
Awesome. Thank you. In progress, improve docs role handbook. Savitha and Anna, do you have anything you want to discuss on that one?
We have one or a couple priors merged already, and there are a few more. I need to. I had a couple things to. One regarding the embargo process, which was a little confusing when we were doing the release. When to start the release, the docs, when to merge and stuff like that. So I have to go through my notes. The chat, basically, that's my notes. I will update that, create a PR for that, and as soon as I'm hoping to do it today or tomorrow, so that PR will be coming up. And there are more tasks. Probably Anna and I will divide. And if anyone's willing, feel free to jump in. That's all from me. Anna, do you have anything to add?
Nope, I think you covered that.
Great, thank you for that update. And I'll just echo, like, if you have any interest in helping out with that, it's a great way to jump in and just understand how the flow works for some of these things. Next up, Rob, any more update on your CI Signal weekly status updates? Sounds like this was maybe next week you'll have something.
Yeah, so I worked on that this week, and I'm just throwing an update onto the issue now. Essentially, where I'm at with that is that there was an unauthenticated HTTP client call in there, which meant that it got rate limited after one run. So I fixed that up, and I'm just about to link to a gist that has. So for the moment, I'm just outputting it as an org file, so I can quickly zip through it in Emacs. And the next steps here are to just add some parameters on the output format, and then so I kind of have a mini roadmap in my head as to where this will go, and I kind of need to find a home for it in repo land with respect to code, and then I need to find a home for it to run. And I'm thinking that I might run it as a proud job 4 times an hour. So I need to find a proud instance where this could run. It could run in the new CNCF proud instance and the community-based proud instance. And so over the next week or two, that there'll be some of the things that I'll be working on. But but yeah, so the update is that I can now run this more than once in an hour. So and I'll drop in the output in gist form on the issue now, and you'll see it once I can find the right place in the agenda doc to place it today. Sorry about that again.
No worries. Thank you for that update.
Okay.
Any questions on that from anybody else? All right, cool. So let's just go through the backlog. We have a little bit of time left. This one, I opened this. The steering committee requires that SIG chairs and tech leads complete the CNCF unconscious bias training. And I thought it was a good idea for the release team leads to do that as well. So I'm going to do a PR to add that to the onboarding process this week. So that'll move to in progress today. Next up, Rob, do you want to discuss this one? Produce onboarding video playlist.
I haven't looked at this since in the past week because of the report.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll have to. Once I'm not so hot on the report, I'll get around to this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just about not going rogue on CI signals. So this issue came up in my chat with Sasha and Jorge. I think that you and Dan and the two of them and I should just pull together a plan for what we want to do with CI signal awareness raising.
Yeah. So
I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. We're in talks. There's multiple streams of content to produce.
Yeah.
And I think I said I'd take the a task-oriented view of test grid, etc. So reporting and then chasing up, and the guys are talking about doing reference material for test grid. I think it would be useful to have the test grid team involved in this because essentially what we're doing is we're writing up test grid for them.
Yeah. Can we get offline and discuss all those things because it's
absolutely.
It's a plan that's in people's minds that just needs to be in one place.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like more. So, is this issue more specifically just like the shadow responsibilities, and then there's a more broad, what do we do around CI signal training?
Basically, it will be good to have some content for. Basically, it's tips and tricks for day-to-day operations for CI signal. That's what I want to produce. And it's what I've done privately in one-on-one sessions with the shadows. But it will be nice to have this is how day-to-day operations happen on CI signal.
Okay.
And so that's
cool.
what my focus will be. Yeah.
Thanks for the clarity.
Yeah.
Wasn't sure from that last discussion. Next up, ensure the release team lead handbook includes an item for holding an initial team meeting with their shadows. I will take this one and work with my my shadows to get this one done. Add information about what qualifies for a milestone. This seems like more specifically not a release, the 120 release team item. Lori, do you think this one should stay in this board or should we move this outside of the 120 board?
I think it belongs outside and we should keep it in mind as we talk about this milestone maintainer's role.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would pull it off.
Yeah, for sure.
I can do that.
Okay. That'd be great. Probably the same thing for release cadence for out of tree features. Seems like a more general one. CI signal handbook.
Around for a while.
Yeah, this was a little old. Rob, do you think you and your team could take this one and either close it out or?
Let me take a look at it. Yeah, I'll take a look at that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, I think that doc was part of the plan. I was muting because ambulance number 2 just passed.
All right, decide on procedure for jobs entering and leaving blocking state. Again, that seems like a more general SIG release item. Does anybody disagree on that one?
No, slash CI signal in a way, but yeah, but it's the experience of the more experienced members of the the SIG release team.
Mm-hmm.
Should weigh in on that, yeah. Interesting.
Probably the same for 1002.
We know, like, if we can remember what the contents of those issues are offhand, is there anything in them that directly affects 120 team that would be an argument for keeping them on the board?
I don't think specifically.
Yeah, I'd say they span multiple releases, those issues.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're just longer term. Okay.
Yeah.
So 1040, I think, is something we could probably pick up within the release team this time around. It spans multiple releases, but I think this is pretty specifically in the area of the release team. And probably the same for 688. Does anybody want to take a look at these and maybe pick them up and move them forward? Any volunteers? All right, we'll come back to those.
I mean, I could make a template, the shadowing template. I just want to read it again.
Okay.
Doesn't sound like a lot of work.
No, probably not. Do you want to pick it up and report back next time?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm happy to review anything that you write. I just don't have time this week or in the coming weeks to actually write it myself. But if you want a second pair of eyes, please tag me for a review.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I have to figure out what it is. I've looked at it before, but it's been a while.
Handling the exceptions.yaml file. Let's see this one. This sounds like it would be a good candidate for.
Oh, so that one came up in the last enhancement subproject meeting because it might be resolved by other things that we're doing.
Yeah.
So it was sort of like, should we close this? That was where that conversation left off. So maybe we can answer that tomorrow in the meeting.
Yeah, let's bring this one up tomorrow. I think it kind of falls under the purview of the enhancement subproject anyway. So I'll make a note to add that to the agenda.
It definitely does.
All right, scalability tests for beta releases is the last one that's in the backlog. Let's just pop that one open. Currently, we have the following jobs to gauge the quality of the current release. These run against the latest on master. This one also seems like probably a more broad than just this release team discussing it. So maybe we can add this to the agenda for the next SIG release meeting to discuss. It's been open for a little bit too. Any thoughts on this one? Are we good to punt this to the next SIG release meeting to discuss? All right, I think that's everything in the backlog. So I think we're done. Anybody have any topics they want to bring up before we jump off? All right, well, thank you. You can have a few minutes back of your morning, your evening, and have a great Monday, or have a great rest of the Monday if it's the evening for you. Everybody have a great week.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Adios.